Hey folks, welcome back to another edition of HP Gaming GameLink. Today we're going to be harnessing the power of the Druids, rescuing the Vale from imminent disaster and tending to the fields to encourage growth as we explore AEG's Mystic Vale. Hello again folks, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, and you should by now, my name is Matt and I'm here today to talk about an oldie but a goodie. This is a game that has always intrigued me, but I've never managed to acquire a copy. When we did have copies in stock on the store, they seem to always go out the door. It's one of those games that people just really love once they discover it, and of course I am no exception. I'm talking about John Declare and AEG's Mystic Vale. Now this is a deck builder, so yay, but at the same time, it's a deck builder with a difference. This is a card crafting game as opposed to a deck building game. You'll understand what I mean if you're not familiar with the game. I'm interested to see the components in the box. I've played the online version on Steam, which has been fantastic. Obviously, I'm familiar with the game to a point. I've never actually played it physically with other players though, so I thought I'd show you what's in the box and a little bit more about what it's about. Partly because, one, it's content for the YouTube channel, which I'm very excited about, but at the same time, I want to play. So I've acquired a copy, and there may or may not be some extra surprises in store as well. This one is something I've seen. I've watched YouTube videos on myself, learned how to play, watched playthroughs from Board Game Geek, etc. But I think, I don't know, there's something about the card crafting system here. I mean, this is a game that's from 2016, I think, so it's been out for nearly 5 years now, so it's been out around for a while. Lots of expansions for this too. But the card crafting mechanic, the fact that you have a deck that is a max 20 cards, that's it. But there's still so much customization. That's really cool, and I think that's something that's definitely worth a look. I'm just going to rip the plastic off of this. Because we want to get inside and show you what's inside the box. And it also means too that once the plastic goes on the floor, that when I lift the box up, you'll be able to get a bit more of an idea of this beautiful artwork as well. The art on the cards, from what I know, if it's anything like the digital version that I've played, we're in for a bit of a treat because there's some amazing artwork on this one. I mean, look at the side of the box here, this little twig blight. I've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Looks amazing. You've got Keepers of the Vale. That's, I think, one of the more higher powered cards. I think it's 9 mana it costs you to get that one. Look, let's get you to come on over and we'll show you what's in the box. Yeah, really excited to get into it. Come on over. And there it is. Now this is the full box. I've put it in sideways for you just so you can get a better look at everything that's going on. Only because if I do this, it's going to be slightly out of frame, and I mean, look, you still get a bit of an idea about what it's all about, but the artwork on the box, it's interesting sizing. I'm not quite sure why they decided to do it this way. Maybe there's method in the madness. We'll find out once we open her up and take a look. But first things first, we've got to take this lid off here. A card crafting game of nature's power, as you can see. Now, AEG originally published Love Letter and other bits and pieces like that. I think that's now owned, the IP's owned by Z-Man. Look, who knows, it's one of those things. Anyway, that's we'll get that one off here, and then we've got all the different bits and pieces as well in terms of how you prepare the cards, the advancement cards in particular. There's like a plastic protection over the top of the cards. You need to peel that off first before you take care of that. So it talks about wear and tear on the cards, because some of the plastic may get wear and tear on them, scuffs, that sort of stuff, but it won't actually affect the game as well. Okay, so that's what that's about. We can get that one out of the way. Then we've got a rule book here, which is pretty straightforward. Again, that same sort of druidic art that we saw on the box, which is straightforward. Gives you the full rules of play. It's quite a thick rule book as well. Then you've got the overview, different components, how it all sort of works, different victory points, goal of the game, similar to Ascension, to finish the game with the most victory points at the end. So it is a complete, yes, collectively you're trying to save the Vale, but it is very much a competitive game. It talks about spoiling, how to buy Vale cards, buy your advancements for your cards, prepping, additional rules on deck, what that means, different card breakdowns, etc. Nice full color book. I do like a good production on the rule book. I think, I don't know, just something about it looks really fantastic. Then you've got Edge of Darkness. Now I believe it's a sequel-ish, quote-unquote game, sequel to Mystic Vale, and it's the same sort of thing, card crafting system as well. Different clans, because you can play as one of the four clans that are available, and a quick reference guide as well, which you can keep out while you play, which is pretty fantastic. We got some punch outs here, which are, pretty straightforward. These ones here are your extra mana tokens. I think if you spoil, which is a term where you have those red symbols you saw in the rulebook, if you have 3 of those or more, so you're allowed 3 of those. If you have a 4th one, you spoil and you can't harvest, which means use your mana to buy upgrades, etc. You get this as a constellation, which is effectively a mana bonus. So when it's inactive, you have the grey side. If you spoil, you get it as a bonus, which means you get +1 to your turn. And there's obviously 4 of those for each of the players in the game. These are your mana tokens and what you are trying to collect, effectively VP. They're simple punchboard tokens, nice thickness, nothing too special. The symbol and design is okay, I don't mind that. And then you've got your multiples, which is always very handy as well, to have multiple sizes. So it's easy to keep track of how many are in the game. And this is why we've got a big box. Very clever. When you get a game like this that has a ton of expansions available, having a base box that allows for extra cards, extra goodies, extra everything, very, very sensible. You've got space here for this bad boy. So you can pop right in there and you can stack them up, and then you've got token spaces, etc., which is very, very straightforward, very, very sensible. And I don't think there's anything underneath there, but I'll take that out of the box a little bit later on. Okay, so we've got card crafting system sleeves. So these are 100 tarot card size sleeves, ideal for card crafting system games such as Mystic Vale. Funny that they're included with this one. So you actually need to do a bit of prep before you play. There are some base cards that symbolize the 4 different factions, and you actually slot those inside here to be like a base card similar to Canvas, which you would have seen on the channel. And once you've done that, then you've got, they don't need to be removed. So you've got a deck of 20 cards per color or per faction. And I'll grab one out just so you can sort of see how that works. And they, of course, are double protected in here, which is fine. That's just a bit of an insert, which we'll get rid of. And then here we have a protective plastic, which has been wrapped around really, really hard to get into to keep everything nice and safe. And when you grab out one of those sleeves, they're just basic standard card sleeves. They're good for shuffling. They're going to be quite durable, which is fine. And you'll use, where are they? They're going to be here. No, that's going to be your Vale cards, maybe. Maybe they're on the back here. Yeah, so these ones here are going to be your base cards for your different factions. So we might get into those and we'll show you how it looks. Do I have a particular faction I've played with? It doesn't really matter. They are all the same. You will start off with the same deck of cards that you'll have. So I think it's basically just a bit of a given as to which way you go. The cards, let me see here. So these are indeed the base cards in the 4 colors. So you get blue, green, red, yellow, or gold, depending on how you want to play it. I find that when I play on the computer, I'm always cast as blue. I don't know why, but you can see it's just a blank card, because you'll get cards, advancements, I should say, that you'll slot in. So when you grab, let's pop those there. When you grab one of these fancy sleeves, you will insert this base card here into the sleeve, and then any advancements you purchase can go in the front there, and you'll understand how that works once I grab some out. So we've got some Vale cards here. Now Vale cards are different to the advancements in that they have they're specific cards that give you specific bonuses that are either one-time use or they are perpetual. What's the term? Not permanent. Persistent effects that last from turn to turn. For example, this one here is a Vale card. It's a level 1 Vale card. It gives you these 2 bonus symbols every turn when you harvest. So if you spoil, you don't get them, but every turn you have this in your area, in your play area, you'll get those 2 bonus symbols, which will allow you to purchase extra Vales. It's also worth 2 VPs at the end of the game. You can see all the animals running off, very much Lion King-esque. The World Tree gives you 2 VPs and 2 of those symbols. Radiant Pinnacle, and then this has a harvest effect. You get to gain 1 of those symbols. Azure Lake, gain 1 mana. Leyline Nexus gives you +2 points. Blooming Arbor, if you were to spoil, you can discard this card to gain a life tree, which will stop you from spoiling at the cost of the card. Sunstone Area allows you to spend 2 mana to use any of these symbols as a wild symbol, which will allow you to purchase stuff. And there's heaps of different abilities here. Fungal Forest. The artwork on the cards is bloody nice, very much nature-themed, fantasy nature-themed. Feral Grove. Again, now we're into the level 2 Vale cards. Webwood Canopy. It costs this much, but it will give you 6 VPs. So sorry, I made that mistake. This is what the card costs is. So you need a bear symbol and a star symbol in order to gain those 2 VPs for the end of the game. Anything that's grayed out, like this one is here, is points that are awarded at the end of the game. So you don't actually get tokens for these VP tokens for those. You only get those off of cards that are blue. Rather than grey, and the reason for that is there is a core pool of these. It's usually about 33, I think, for a 4-player game. And once that pool is depleted, the game is over. You have a final turn. Each player will have the same number of turns, etc. So Blessed Savannah, that's one that's worth 6 VP. At the end of the game, talks about advancements. Stream of Vigor, gain 2, and you may buy a 3rd advancement this turn. So usually each turn you can only buy a maximum of 2, despite how much you might be able to afford. Gain a wild symbol there for the Pool of Light. Conclave of Ents, or the Tree People. Once per turn, choose a card in your field or on deck. That target gains 1 Guardian symbol until the end of the turn. I'm assuming it's Guardian, that's the term I'm going with. Wellspring Glade give you 7 points at the end of the game, and then you've got some player aids to let you know what's going on and what the symbols mean as well. Growth and Decay, Mana, VP Grey, Spirit Symbols, Guardian, there you go, I was correct. So we'll pop those to the side as well, just to say that we've got that one out. And then we'll talk about some advancements. This one's already been ripped. That's okay, we don't mind that. It's going to be, the plastic's going to come off it anyway. So we have some crazy stuff here. Now these cards all range. Basically, these cards are the ones that you use that are advancements. They're used to craft. Now, if you see here, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not, in the top corner, there is 3 little dots. This means this is a 3rd level advancement. So it's probably one of the hardest ones to get throughout the course of the game. Calm Weather. When played, look at your next on-deck card. You may discard this card. If you like, it costs 7 mana. It also gives you a growth symbol, and it gives you one of those green Vale symbols as well. And you've got all sorts of different bits and pieces here, like Field of Flowers, for example. That's what they look like when they're separated. Field of Flowers, this will give you 2 mana. If you're able to harvest it, it'll cost 3. And you can see there's a 1 dot, a 1 pip there, which means it's a level 1 advancement. So you'll deal out yourself your field, which will be a row of cards that'll set out in front of you from your deck, and you'll keep dealing until you have... So when you first deal, you'll deal with the top card, the next card, and then the next card you'll flip over face up. If it doesn't have a decay symbol on it and you've only got 2 decay symbols, you can put that into your field and then reveal the next card until that card has a decay symbol, and you have a total of 3 decays that aren't cancelled out by any growths. That's then your field prepped, ready to harvest, and then you can try and push your luck and get more cards. But when you acquire advancements to your deck, you'll have probably about, I think it's about 10 cards that don't have anything in them, that'll be blank. But once you put advancements on them, this card now has this +2 mana when it's drawn. So as you acquire more cards, you'll fill in those spots as well. And there are effectively 3 spaces on the cards. If I was to put in this other Calm Weather symbol here, this Calm Weather card, this is now becoming quite a powerful card. You can see now this card's drawn. It has a growth to cancel a decay symbol. It has the green Vale symbol, plus the 2 bonuses, plus the additional victory point at the end of the game. So yeah, it's obviously becoming a much more powerful card than being blank. Now, these ones here look like more advancements. So we'll have a quick look at those. And then we've got a few extra bits and pieces that I want to show you here as well. So we've got more plastic on the floor. And then we've got more fertile soil. So these are sort of the first advancements that you'll come across, and they basically allow for a singular extra mana to come out. And it's obviously something that people will acquire first off, unless they don't have the resources to acquire them. You can see there's a little bit of flashing then from the plastic cover. That'll come off eventually, but we're not too worried about that. The cards themselves will need to be separated. They're a bit stuck together, but I think from use, they will eventually separate out. This seedling here is ongoing, and it cancels one of the decays that may or may not be on the card. So if you were to put that on one of your cursed land cards, that would obviously cancel that out and give you some more play. In your deck, you will have some cursed, or see this one here, for example. I'll grab that out there. The Life Bloom Orchids. They will give you 2 VP blue every time you harvest them, as well as the 2 points into the game. So every turn you have that in your field that you can harvest, you'll gain 2 of those VP tokens out of that pool, which obviously helps increase your lead and helps your chances of winning the game. So let's pop these. Where are we? We've got all sorts of crazy here. You can see the art on the cards is nice. Each card has its own little section of artwork, and once they're all layered up together, you can see there's quite, they're easy enough to see what's going on without actually having the cards overlaid. Doesn't affect the readability of the cards, which is nice. Anything else added to this card costs 2 less. So some of those bigger ones that cost 7 may only cost 5, etc. There's lots of different components and combinations. A Will-O-the-Wisp, for example, will give you the 2 VP. It'll cost you 7, it'll give you 2 at the end of the game, plus 2, plus a mana every turn. So that's a card that's worth having as well. Guardian cards, all that sort of stuff. Bloody brilliant. I'm just going to have a quick look at the box, make sure there's nothing we're missing underneath. No, the box is empty. The tray is nice and large and allows for, oops, we've got a bit of a dent. Pop that back out in the box. Had a bit of a dent here. So you've got all the base cards. The Vale cards can jump in there nice and easy. Heaps of storage, which is great. These cards are the basic cards for your deck, and you can see that the basic cards, some of them have fertile soils actually printed on the base cards, along with a cursed land. So this is that decay symbol we talked about before. If you're dealing out your field, that's your on-deck card at the top of your deck, and you have something like that in your field. You have a total of 4 mana to spend. Sorry, 3 mana, because you can only spend what's in your field, harvest what's in your field. But you could potentially push. And what I mean by push is you take this top card and move it into the end of your field. The risk is that if you push and you pull a 4th decay symbol, you spoil and you discard all those cards and skip your harvest phase, which means you can't actually gain any advancements. Very, very messy business. I'm just going to take out these 2 cards because they're not going to be used. We're going to put this to the side. Now we do have something extra special for you folks. We have a couple of expansions that we're going to take you through. We've got Mana Storm, and we've also got a Twilight Garden expansion as well. So we're going to get into those. Let's move this to the side. And we'll go into Mana Storm first, I think. So let's clear this away and we'll go from there. All right, so here is Mana Storm, a much smaller box, and it's got little tabs on the side. Artwork is quite nice, quite fantastic. This guy's casting a serious amount of ward here. I think this is one of the more popular expansions, only because there is the option to get that as a digital version as well. I'm just going to pop that to the side. You know what? Let's put it over here because the artwork's awesome. Rulebook to explain all the new bits and pieces. Now this is an expansion, it is not a standalone, so you will need the base game. Negative VP is a new feature which we don't want because it's obviously going to cancel out any VP you might potentially harvest. You've also got leader cards, which I think are an addition that are in another couple of expansions as well. There's also amulets, which gives you extra bits and pieces, and you can upgrade your leader to get extra powers and things too. More Vale cards and their definitions, leader clarifications and what they do. Still quite a heavily detailed rulebook as well. which you don't usually expect from such a small box expansion, but there still is quite a bit in this box and a bit of a card list so you know which cards have come from which expansion. And then you've got the amulets here. There are 2 punch boards of the amulets, and then of course the cards. So here you've got, oh, they're very thick, very nice here. You've got here the Dark Soul Ember. Planting, you must push at least once in your planting phase before you harvest. Wow, if you spoil, you get -2 VP, risk versus reward. Evoke, harvest, sleeve 1 advancement you bought this turn. You may use that advancement this turn. That's handy, but again, it will cost you 2 VP. So you've got different amulets that will give you, I mean, if you evoke this particular amulet here, it will give you 1 VP. But on the other side, Sun Blessing, if you spoil, you'll also get a VP. So that's actually a nice one to have. No real benefits unless, of course, you spoil. This one here, -4 VP. If you were to spoil, you may evoke the amulet to gain 1 growth token. Rootwood Charm, if you spoil, -4. Then you've got the harvest ability on this one. Place the bottom card of your deck at the end of your field. Again, risk if that's a spoil one there, summon a stone, etc. We've got some rubbish there now. We've got this one here, which is an amulet that you cause to evoke and it cause you to flip, -3 VP. Gain 1 mana or choose 1 card in your deck, in your field or on deck card. That card gains 2 guardians until the end of the turn. That could be handy. Particularly some of those cards that require guardian symbols to power up. That's definitely something worth looking at. You've got an evoke, which is just basically a mana shard here. It'll give you 2 mana, but at the cost of VP. And then you've got another one. Whoops, I'm just throwing them everywhere at the moment. You've got a discard or harvest. Evoke, place 1 card in your field at the bottom of your deck to use it again before you shuffle. Spoil again, -2. Harvest, flip this amulet in the air and keep it on whichever side it lands on. Ooh, risky. Spoil, -2. Okay, and then you've got the cards themselves. So these are leader cards, and then you've got more advancements and things as well. So the advancements are going to be new cards that you can acquire for your deck to help, upgrade your characters and things. I don't know how many of them will be able to use in the base game without leader cards, but I believe you can, basically just chuck in whatever. The Pride Lord costs 3 at the end of the game. If there are 3 or more Guardians on this card, it's worth 4 victory points. And again, these ones are very stuck together. So we'll just loosen those up a little. There we go. You got cards like the Ent Guard here, which has an ongoing effect. Level 1 advancements on this card. All gain 1 Guardian symbol. It's got what looks like extra card symbols to remind you. Costs 4, gives you 1 VP. Argent Owl, etc. Mist Sliffs, Night Vale Emissary, which has a growth symbol as well. Again, those minus or negative victory points. I'm assuming, therefore, if you have the VP, if you lose those, they will go back into the pool. But if you have, obviously, potentially gaining 5 VP in a turn and you only have -2, then you only gain 3 rather than 4, etc. Which is, I do like that strategy. A bit of a different challenge involved. Gaia's Kin costs 5. End of game, it's worth 2 victory points. If you have 1 or 2 blank cards, if you have 3 or 4, so depending on your blank cards, if this is worth 13 victory points if you have 7 to 8 blank cards in your deck. So again, risk versus reward, because if you have a lot of blank cards you haven't filled up or you refuse to buy things, you could potentially be getting that 13-point bonus at the end of the game. And if you have a couple of those cards, like if you double that up and build a card like that, wow, that could be a 26-point bonus at the end of the game. And then you get cards like the Magpie, which allows you to shuffle any cards from your discard pile into your deck. Then you've got Dawnfire Dragons. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. Dawnfire Dragons obviously has its own abilities. It's also got decay symbols because, dragons like to burn things. Dragons be crazy. And then you've got here, end of game, Dawnfire Dragon is worth +1 victory point for each level 3 advancement you have. Again, lots of different strategy, which you don't really know what strategy you're playing until you start acquiring those cards. And again, we've got one of those cards, if I can just find it again, that's sort of come a bit unstuck with those plastics, but obviously we knew about that from the other box. Now, we've got the leader cards. I will quickly go through those. Now, I believe these cards can be sleeved as well, and you can get advancements onto them too. There we are. Where are we? Come on. Here we go. Let's see. We've got more Vale cards in here as well. Let's separate out the leaders here. Yeah, okay. So the leader cards have their own little symbols on the side there, so you can actually pop them inside a sleeve. Gain 1 additional mana for each blank card that's in your field. You also get a wild symbol and 6 points if you acquire it. Old Barcarb the Crafter, you may pay 1 to flip Barcarb to the starting side. So you've got a starting side for these as well. You need 8 mana to activate his ability, and then he'll go nuts for donuts. And it's the same, these guys all have starting cards, starting sides. It can only cost you 1 to acquire. Sorry, yeah, no, 1 to acquire, and then you can flip it over. So you must be able to choose these at the start of the game. You must flip, so on and so forth. 3 growth symbols. Wow, minus 40 points. Ouch. Then you've got here Algeni, the Fierce Heart, who then gives you a growth symbol and talks about what's happening when you play. You've got Silverwing, the Sky Guard, 8 to flip. And when you flip, it gives you a mana symbol and a wild symbol. Gain 2 for each Vale you buy this turn. Kilrath the Feral has 3 mana, a decay and a beast symbol, and then when you flip you get 4 mana, 2 decay and a wild symbol. If you spoil while Kilrath is on deck, gain 3 and then take another turn. That's handy if you think you're going to spoil, particularly with those 2 decay symbols. You've got Yaki the Poisoned, gain 1 per card, less than 7 cards in your field. And then obviously decay, and then place cards from the top of your deck at the end of your field until there are 9 cards. Another good card to have. They've all got their pros and cons, I suppose. Glorus the Dawnbringer, gain 1 or 1, depending on which one you harvest. And if you flip it over at the end of the game, Glorus is worth +1 for each beast in the cost of Vale cards you own. And then, of course, we've got some Vale cards as well. So let's have a look at those quick sticks and we'll get into the next box. Level 1 Vale cards. Tanglevine Labyrinth, it costs you 2 mana and a beast. Hallowed Ground, then you've got, what have we got here? Sunshard Beacon, Heavenlight Portal, that's cool. All of your beast symbols may be used as wilds this turn. Wow, very handy. Split Rock, Howling Peak, there you go, more of the same. Crystal Cavern, a lot of the beast symbols coming through in this expansion. I guess that's sort of a bit of a theme here. When you evoke your mana token, in addition to other effects, you may gain 1 wild during your harvest phase this turn, but it costs you any symbol, so you can pick and choose. Extra powers, extra craziness, which I kind of dig. Just sort of challenges up your strategy as you play. The Sky Garden costs 4 green symbols, but you can discard this card to gain 2 VP per growth in your field. Maximum of 10. Halo Mountain. Got nothing to do with Master Chief, or does it? No, I'm kidding. Astral Lawstones, Gaia's Tears, that's cool. But it's minus 3 VP. Then you've got Border Watch Bog, minus 8 VP. Complete 1 additional prep and planting phase. If you pass and don't spoil, gain 1 victory point for each card in your field. Wow. Medusa Grotto, and to gain double the value of VP on any advancements you own. So while it's minus 14 points, the VP on those cards could be worth a ton. Harpy Canyon, you may use 1 when played ability a second time in your field. Sunweaver Copse, when bought, add 6 from the box to the pool, so you actually add victory points to extend the game. That's kind of handy too, I like that. All right, we're going to clear this away. We're going to get into the Twilight Garden expansion, then we'll come back out and give you some final thoughts. All right, here it is, the Twilight Garden expansion. Again, card crafting system. I do like this artwork. It's very, very cool. I believe there's more leaders in this box as well. I think there's something else that I can't, the name of which eludes me at this point, but we'll keep that to the side. Ooh, extra tokens. Looks like negative VPs, but we'll talk about that. Some dark bits and pieces as well. Okay, so the rule book is here. It explains what's going on there. Curses, curse tokens, negative VP again. So this the two expansions so far, we are talking about some serious crazy. You've got explanations on the different cards, how they work, the leader clarifications that are involved, the Vale clarifications for the Vale cards, leader lore. So this is a bit more theme for the game, and then the card list for the pack as well, which is cool. I'm going to leave that there so we can see this gorgeous artwork. Let's bring that in a touch more because it's just awesome. And then we've got here the curse tokens. Now these are mana tokens, same as before, but with the curse effect. So they are the same size, but they are just black and nasty. And there is a -5 version of those as well. You do not want this. You do not want this. That is fair enough. We don't have to worry about that. We know that we don't want those. All right, let's. This box, we'll leave it there. The box is a bit naff, but that's okay because we don't need it anyway. Let's leave the Vale cards here. Let's get into. Oh, these ones have already split. The advancements and have a look and see what's in the box. We will bend these out. Now, one thing I will say, these are all. There's a lot more cards. In this expansion. The box probably didn't need to be so big, but that's okay. We don't mind. We won't hold that against them. We've got a Gossamer Brood, which is worth -2 VP. However, -2 at the end of the game, but it will give you +1 every time you harvest. So over time, the -2 is kind of worth it, and it's only worth two mana. So not necessarily a bad thing. Then we've got our friends, the Blackwood Ents. Now, the Blackwood Ents here have a different symbol we haven't seen yet, and that's a curse. So you actually take a -VP every time you play this card. So yes, you get that growth, which is going to help, but the -VP means that's something that's going to have a lasting effect and counteract all those positives that you're bringing in. Then we've got the Pixie Skyguard, which gives you a Guardian symbol and also a green harvesting symbol. You've got Sepulchre of Elders, which allows you to unsleeve and remove this advancement from the game, then discard any cards of your choice from your field. That's awesome. Then you've got cards like this Highland Avenger, which has a -1. It's got a curse, but you gain 1 victory point for each Guardian on that card, and there's only -1 at the end of the game. That curse could counteract that, but if you build up your Guardians, you could potentially have, 2, if that's already 1 symbol. So you harvest, you gain 1 victory point for each Guardian symbol on this card. So this -1 is actually already counteracted by that. So I guess it's sort of a moot point, but if you have another card that cancels out your Guardian symbols, you will be in a lot of trouble. Wayfarer, you may place this card at the bottom of your deck of the player to your left. They may use the ability the turn it was bought. Wow, so you can actually mess with other people's cards. Astromancer. Then you've got a Lawkeeper. Again, the artwork's fantastic. They're all sort of stuck together. Oh, there's a Hippogriff. What does the Hippogriff do? Let's see. Gives you a couple of symbols, so helps you with your harvesting. Menhir Circle gives you wild, but also at the cost of victory points at the end of the game. Herbalist will allow you to discard. That's cool. So the Herbalist will allow you to discard one of your curse cards, so you can slowly start to cure yourself. That's going to be a card that's sought over quite a bit. It's extensive fighting. Early Sunrise give you an extra VP as well. Then you've got a Snapjaw. Look at the top card of the level 3 advancement deck. You may buy that card for free or put it back, but at the cost of 2 curses as well. The Old Crone, when played, you gain 4 VP from the box, which is very cool. So you can just sort of keep ripping through that and grabbing all the ones that are there. The Forest Worm, grab a curse, but also grab 2 VPs, and the card's worth 2 VPs as well. So yeah, the strategy that you adopt, you're going to have to be able to be flexible, because ultimately this game is going to be, your flexibility is going to, your strategy is going to say need to adjust depending on the cards you're actually able to purchase. While on deck, you cannot spoil. That's handy, and it gives you 2 mana as well and a victory point. Leaf Weaver gives you a curse, a mana, a wild symbol, a green harvest symbol for Vale cards. You've got this. There is so many here. Forest Mender. A True Sight Archer has the 2 Guardian symbols. So if you could use that with that other card we saw before. Then you've got, where are we? Deepwood Veteran. Each opponent may give you 1 VP, and each that doesn't gains 2 curses. Ouch! That's a bit nasty as well. Then you got the Ent Speaker, Havenglade Chancellor. While on deck or in field, gain 1 each time you push. So again, risk versus reward. Ent Speaker, this card has 1 growth for each Guardian on that card. Oakhoof Leviathan, -3 curses, but also 2 growths. So you can keep get a nice big field to harvest all sorts of crazy. Fallen Wizard, you may discard 1 curse for each Guardian on this card and then get 3 VPs as well. But you also get that decay symbol. Messy Business, Wind Chasers, harvest 2 for each Guardian symbol on this card. You've got the Ent Beat Ender, I should say. A Guardian symbol. It's worth 10. Gives you 2 VPs, but you get 1 of each of the symbols. So that's going to be something that people are going to be sought after as well, purely for those Vale symbols. Spirits of Decay. While in the field, if you spoil, you gain VPs from VP symbols on this card as you would during harvest, regardless of spoiling. That's handy to have as well. There are benefits and madness to all the cards. Wow, what's this one? Sacrificial Altar goes over 2 cards, which means if you don't have a card that actually can fit the 2 symbols, you can't purchase this card. It's worth 10 VPs each time it's harvested. It also gets you 4 at the end of the game, but it's basically the only card you can have out, because those 3 decays mean that if this comes up on your on deck and there's another decay symbol in your field already, you insta-spoil, which is very bad. While on deck, you cannot spoil. The decay on this card may not be cancelled by any growth. So you cannot spoil if this is your on-deck card, but as soon as it moves to your field, bloody murders. All right, we've got Ranger Captain. Look at the top card of the level 1 Vale deck. You may buy that card for free or put it back. Griffin Riders, another one, Deep Hollow Border Town. It gives you 2 VP straight off the bat. Each time you buy a Vale card using only abilities or spirit symbols on this card, gain 1 from the box. And then you've got a Druid Preceptor. Spend any amount of mana, gain 1 victory point for each of the 2 mana that you spend, which is kind of cool way to rack up some points. Savant, double the amount of mana you gain from this card, including text effects. You've got the Guildmark University. Harvest, gain 1 mana for each card in your field. You've got the Blessed Knight, which gives you 1 mana point, but gives you 3 Guardians, and he's got 2 VPs, also costs 8. Then you've got the Deputy Peacekeeper, gain 2 for each Guardian and growth on this card, and you've got the decay symbol there as well. Then you've got a Blessed Stronghold, which doesn't give you any bonuses here. Ongoing, this card has 1 growth for each of those symbols on the card, so it has 2 growth to start. It costs you 14, but it gets you 3 VP as well. Heaps and heaps of advancements, offering up a huge deal of strategy, which I kind of dig. And then we've got the Vale cards, and I think there might be some leaders in here as well. And that's going to be pretty much it. So let's get the plastic out on the floor here. We'll separate out these guys into their separate decks. Level 2s, level 1s, and then we have the new leaders. We have Trufter the Mushroom King. 2 VPs and an advancement, then you flip them over. Sorry, that's the base one, is it? Yes, it is. That's the base one. We've gone the other way. That's okay. We've had a look at Trufter. Then you've got Hectoro the Hunter, starting side, minus 25 points. He's going to be good. But look, you know, minus 25 points is not necessarily a bad thing. There's heaps of ways to make that up. Guardian symbol, and then obviously the extra effects as well. And you can always pause the video as well if you want to read the cards. Gives you a curse, minus 5 points. Spend 1 of each of these or 10. And then you flip it over and it gives you 1 of those. And he's worth 12 at the end of the game. So definitely worth flipping. Then you've got LeQ, which is a corrupted soul. He's minus 100 points. Ouch. Oh, he can be flipped back and forth as well. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, discard the rest. So I think that's going to be a risk versus reward, because obviously the other ability on the negative side has some nice effects. The Purifier gives you a growth. It's worth 1, but on the other side it's worth 2. You can play, you may discard 1 card in your field. Athena, Queen of the Fade, the lady on the box, worth 2 VPs. On the other side, she's worth 4 VPs and gives you the growth symbol as well. Boggle Be the Dreamer. Look at him. Cute little bear with horns. We love that. Gives you the beast symbol and a mana symbol. And on the other side, he's got the 2 VP. He's worth extra VP as well at the end of the game. Definitely worth flipping over. And that's it. Oh no, we've got some Vale cards. My apologies. So we've got the Wind Speaker Plateau here, which you choose 1 to 2 cards in the commons, place them at the bottom of their respective decks and replace them. The commons refers to the display or the market where you can buy cards. Coil Vine Cooley. Flame Geysers, that's cool. The Witch Tree, that's a bit sinister looking. All those crows. Echoing Waterfalls. A Spore Geyser. Once per turn, you may spend any 2 symbols to gain 1 VP. Whitewater Whirlpool, that's actually handy, that one, the Spore Geyser, because if you don't have enough symbols to actually purchase a card, you can still gain VP, which is obviously the aim of the game. Gain an extra mana point. Seraph Steeple. Moonrise Lake, that's cool too. I like that artwork. The Crystal Tree, cool. Rotted Weald, you may place the bottom card of your deck onto your field, but it gives you a -2 points at the end of the game. Raincaller Rock, harvest or gain 1 mana per card less than 5 in your field. Frostmarch Glacier, gain 1 less than 6. Ranger's Outpost will give you 4 VP at the end of the game, but also give you -2. So that's obviously something, risk versus reward as well. Mill Hollow Farm Town, Fair Hollow Academy. So these are more locations and places rather than Vale cards, I guess they are, but they sort of are. That's level 1. And then we've got some level 2 crazy. We've got a Purifying Spring. End of the game, this card is worth victory points equal to the number of negatives on your Vales. Defiled Leyline. Oh, that's a bit sinister. Solar Mirror, that's cool. This card is worth 1 VP for each 3 curses you have. Festering Brood. Again, negative card effects there. Cindermore. Wow. That's you wouldn't want to fall in there. Obsidian Obelisk. Witchwand Wood. Wailing Caverns. The Rockspine Zenith. The Eye of Gaia. It's worth 7 VP at the end of the game. No other benefits other than that. Tree Hollow, that's cool. What a cool place to live. Windsong Spires. Mistvale Sanctum. This card is worth 1 VP for each level 1 Vale you own. That could be worth something as well if you have a lot of level 1 cards. Sentinel Stones. That looks like the River Anduin, I think it is, from Lord of the Rings. It's very similar. Nexus Canyon. That looks a bit dangerous. Don't fall in there. The Heartstone Oasis, worth 3 at the end of the game. Corrupted Seer Stone. Look at that. That's just nasty. Once per turn, if you wait to spoil, you may gain 1 curse to discard your on-deck card instead. That's going to prevent you from spoiling, but at what cost? At what cost indeed? And that is it. That is the 3 boxes from Mystic Vale that we wanted to go through. Let's come on out. We'll talk about final thoughts and let you know what's happening next. And there it is, the contents of the Mystic Vale base game, the Twilight Garden and the Mana Storm expansions. Now, those expansions were 2 that were recommended to me that offer the best improvements in terms of gameplay. Not so much improvements, additions, I guess, in terms of gameplay. If you've ever played Mystic Vale and you've played some of the other expansions that you think may or may not be better, you may prefer, by all means, let me know in the comments below so I can go and check those out. The base game itself, there is a ton of gameplay involved. I think while it's not it's an original game in terms of the card crafting mechanic, but effectively it's a very limited deck builder. But I do think that the appeal of this is the strategy that you adopt at the beginning of the game is not necessarily the strategy you'll finish with. And that's partly because you may not be able to acquire the cards that you want to acquire. Once you've played the game a few times and you understand the mechanics of how it works, how the on-deck card works, how harvesting works, planting, pushing cards into your field before you harvest, I think that is going to open up a whole different world for you as you play through this. The first time you play, you'll be, okay, it's a deck builder. The second time you play, you'll be like, oh, hang on, there's a lot more to this. And that, I think, is where the beauty of this game lies. The artwork on the cards is nice. It's on par with the digital version that I've played. Playing through the digital game a few times now, I think, that has helped on Steam. It doesn't have the same tactile feel. Yes, it animates actually combining the cards into the sleeves and everything else, but it's not the same as actually having the physical presence on the table and watching your deck of cards grow as more and more cards are put into those sleeves. Even though the deck of cards stays the same, the effects and the modifiers that you put into those cards that you craft just gives you that much more versatility, that much more strategy, and that much more potential to potentially mine for those all-important VPs. Mystic Vale appeals to me, one, because it's a deck builder, even though it's not a deck builder, quote unquote. But it's one of those games that I think is going to be something, it's a bit of a crowd pleaser. There's something in this for everybody. And while I know that, deck builders don't necessarily appeal to everyone, and while it's very evident that I am a deck builder fan, I do feel that there is something about this particular game and its appeal, the card crafting mechanic, the different variables that come with the expansion boxes, and the unprecedented replayability with this one as well. I think once you've played it a few times, yes, you'll understand it. And I mean, there's not a huge learning curve, but once you get into the guts of it and start really thinking, okay, do I just go all in on those, level 1 advancements just to try and build up my mana power and then go hard later on? Do I purchase those cards that have those VPs that are immediate, that I can harvest for VPs at the risk of having those extra decay symbols? Or do I try and avoid decay altogether and use discards to try and push out and get heaps of cards out in my field? Risk versus reward. That's what this game has in spades. If you've never played Mystic Vale, I do suggest you check it out. It's quite a fantastic experience. And now that we've got our copies, we'll be restocking these soon on the store. So you can check those out. It would be remiss of me not to thank our Patreon supporters as well. Thank you very much for allowing us to do all the crazy stuff that we do, and for me to have all the fun I have playing games. Now that we're out of lockdown here in Victoria again, hopefully we won't be going back in. We should be able to host some more live plays and other events, including, hopefully, fingers crossed, our last chance Christmas garage sale we do every year. So hopefully we'll be able to see you at some of those, play some games, have some fun. That will be closer to the mid to end of December. So we're talking around about the 16th or so. Look out for more information on that. Otherwise, folks, give us a subscribe and a like if you haven't done so already. I'm Matt. This is HP Gaming GameLINK. This has been Mystic Vale. We'll see you back at the table for more fun and adventures very, very soon. Until then, it is bye for now.